Hey, has it returned yet? For what length of time will you make us wait? Jir's voice resounded in the dark hallway. At the musical instrument store, I had a part-time job. A piano concert was the major event taking place in the store today. Sadly, though, there was a blackout that left the venue completely dark. The music had not begun after 20 minutes, and the audience's annoyance and rage were evident. It's time to stop. I'm heading out. A number of the tired spectators got up from their chairs. I said, I'll go, as a part-time employee, and made my way over to the piano. In the dark, I felt my way over to the instrument. It didn't matter that the sheet music wasn't included or that the keys were difficult to see. One note at a time, I played the keys, and this would turn out to be a very important event in my life. My name is Jeffrey. I'm a 29-year-old piano tuner by trade. Even though I work part-time at the record store, some people find it odd that I would rather have part-time work than a full-time job at my age. Nevertheless, Mike, the store manager, lets me do as I choose and doesn't pressure me to switch jobs. He's a really perceptive individual. Mike once introduced me to a business associate. This individual was recruited in from another store to assist in leading and managing the store's impending floor space increase. Hello, my name is Sophia. Although you are all the experts here, I will be your new manager. Show me the ropes, please. Beautifully gorgeous was the woman who welcomed us to the morning gathering with confidence and friendliness. Her short black hair was lustrous, and she had fair, healthy skin. Her sharp features seemed more at home in a magazine or on TV than in a record shop. The other employees and temporary workers were equally overwhelmed, but when the subject came up later in conversation, they were at a loss for words. She's beautiful was all that came to mind. Jeffrey, can I see you for a moment? Mike called to me as I started my rounds, making sure the pianos were working. Sophia was standing next to him. He introduced each person individually, as if such were the case. Jeffrey is our part-time employee. He's a pretty good piano tuner, but he could use a little more charisma. Mike shrugged pitifully, and I couldn't help but object. I treat customers politely. I am aware. I didn't mean to say that. It's more about charm. You're usually really reserved. I became even more irritated, feeling as though I had just been compared to a timid animal. I thought I was open with you, Mike. You need to open up to others too, not just me. Yes, so Sophia, he's your guy if you need anything piano-related. Although he works part-time, his skill set is that of a true professional. I wanted to plead, please don't raise the bar too high, but I was unable to. I merely nodded vaguely to get by because it hurts to fall short of people's expectations and let them down. Jeffrey, can we talk about the shift the day after tomorrow? Sophia came to me immediately following the morning meeting the following day. Sure, what's up? About your work location the day after tomorrow. Is it a shift to another store? No, I want you to come to a concert with me. She sent me an advertisement for a musical performance at a nearby community center. Anyone who has ever touched a piano knows the organizer. She is a pianist. I have personally attended his performances multiple times. Is it work? Yes, before the rehearsal, we must tune the piano. He has a contract with our company. I understand, but why me? Do you not also play the piano? Yes, but Mike praised you highly, and I thought it would be a good opportunity for you to gain some experience in a professional setting. Have you had experience? Although I didn't want to advance in my job, it might have had some significance. Still, I am an employee of the company despite working part-time. If the policy requires me to get experience, then I must follow it. Besides, I could not possibly refuse. Going to a concert venue wasn't something I was excited about, but I had no choice if it was for business. I nodded, attempting to hide my reluctance. The day of the event, I passed through the busy hall where only employees were getting ready and followed Sophia onto the stage. Thomas, it's been a while. From Sacker Instruments, I'm Sophia. Hi, Sophia. Eager to collaborate with you today. Sophia greeted Timothy, the pianist and person in charge of the concert. They appeared to be acquainted. Timothy appeared disturbed as Sophia went to work. Jean, pay attention. This piano hasn't been playing well recently. It's been off since the venue moved, maybe just nerves. It did seem weird as he said this, caressing the grand piano. The keys themselves were in good condition, but every note had an unpredictable flutter, like butterflies in a field. Why is this happening with a piano that is being treated normally? I pondered. More significantly, Timothy's piano didn't belong this way. Sophia scowled but got her head down to work. How does it sound? Sophia moved away from the keyboard and dabbed at her perspiration. Timothy put his hands on the keys, allowing his fingers to move naturally. He stopped after approximately 3 measures, but it seemed like his favorite tune filled the hall. Moaned Timothy. Sophia slouched her shoulders. The sound was clear and her tuning flawless, but the notes themselves still appeared dispersed. I'm sorry, could I have a bit more time? No, you performed admirably. Just give it a little tweak during rehearsal. I couldn't help but whisper to Sophia, hey, maybe it would help if you tune it for a brighter sound. A brighter sound. That way, the direction of the sound might align better. Wait a minute. Sophia drew Timothy and myself closer. Please give me a little more time. I apologize. The tuning won't be charged if this doesn't function. Well, if you insist. Thank you. Sophia put me in front of the piano and lowered her head. She excused herself to Timothy by saying that she needed help, and then she whispered to me, try it. Me? I'll accept accountability. I touched the piano and reluctantly took the tuning tools. The moment I started to play the keys, I could feel the agony. Unexpectedly, the music was louder and higher. Timothy's observation regarding the piano's uneasiness seemed to be true. I was only using my fingers and ears to interact with the piano. I had no idea how much time had gone by, but in the end, I got a good outcome. It's okay, your sound is the best in the world, I finally said to the piano. I'm through. I spun around to find Timothy and Sophia staring at me in disbelief. Sophia had moved away from the piano entirely. Considering that she was meant to be tuning the piano, I questioned whether it was all right. Oh right, excuse me. Timothy took a seat at the keyboard. Beside me, Sophia remarked, I couldn't interrupt you because you had such an intense focus. Beautiful melodies sprang from the piano like a song as soon as she spoke. The atmosphere of the piano seemed to have improved. With wide eyes, the music enthralled Sophia, who was standing next to me, and Timothy, who was playing the piano. For a while, Timothy's performance captivated me as well. Timothy finished a whole piece, got up, and gave me a firm handshake. You're incredible. You made the perfect correction. I'm glad you're satisfied. With great pleasure, Timothy began his second piece and entered practice. With a breath of relief, we left the stage and found a bench in the foyer to wait for the crowd to arrive. I looked at the monitor throughout the rehearsal. After all, I was supposed to head back to the store, but Timothy begged that I stay and listen, so they got me a seat. Sophia gave me a canned drink after purchasing coffee from the vending machine. Thank you. No, thank you. Sophia sipped her coffee as she sat next to me. She looked like she was in an advertising, even with a can of coffee, and I watched, mindless. She glanced back at me, unperturbed by my stare. Who are you? What are you trying to say? I work for Sakura Instruments part-time. That's not what I mean at all. You get my meaning. Sophia gestured toward the monitor's piano. You had amazing tuning abilities. It's astounding to me that you work part-time at a record store. It was just a coincidence that I match well with that piano. No way. Hey, Jeffrey. a voice behind me cried up to me. I turned out of instinct and hated coming here right away. Really. There was Jeffrey Isaac, one of my old schoolmates, leaning on a trolley filled with cardboard crates. It's been a while. That means you're still playing the piano. Huh. No, I'm doing other work. Other work? From the bag of tuning tools next to us, Isaac smirked and nodded wildly, as if he understood. It does make sense, yes. A failure who embarrassed himself couldn't possibly be a pianist anymore. What are you doing, Isaac? I tried to shift the conversation, ignoring his disparaging remark. Isaac ran a finger along the cardboard boxes, preparing for the launch. Tim and I work for the same agency. I'm in charge of distributing pamphlets at the reception today. You know, I gotta talk to the fans now that I'm becoming noticed. I'm busy because I'm popular. I see. I guess I better start going. Are you staying to listen to Timothy's performance? Yeah, I guess. So be careful not to feel too inadequate. You usually give in so easily under pressure. Isaac turned to leave a complete piece of wisdom behind. Sophia stood alongside me, looking as though she didn't know what to say. He was a classmate from music college. You went to a music college? Many people managed to get in. I believe you asked me previously who I was. I'm not really that great, but I did major in piano, so that's one thing going for me. I see. I went silent, not wanting to say anything more. Sophia stayed put, and the room was solely filled with the piano's sound coming from the speakers. Mike said you don't open up to people, Sophia muttered. But you open up to the piano. Should I let the piano in? Is that how it appeared? Why am I continuing working with pianos when I no longer play the piano? No, I'd rather not give it any thought. Even yet, her remarks stuck in my head till the end of the rehearsal. Now that we've successfully grown, our record store decided to throw a party to commemorate the reopening. We had a pianist on contract for a concert we were holding in a local hall, and the piano we used would be up for auction. All of it was Sophia's idea. Although I felt it was a risky decision, all of the seats were sold out well in advance of the event, thanks to the amazing pre-event publicity. As a member of the preparatory staff, I was occupied with circulating the hall. Of course, I was also in charge of tuning the piano for the video. All right, that should do it. I used a cloth to give the perfectly tuned piano one more wipe. I hope someone wants you. I pondered what people would think if they saw me sitting in front of a piano. However, Sophia's comment about me being vulnerable in front of the piano continued to bother me. It's true that sitting in front of the piano brings comfort. I still want people to recognize the beauty of the piano, even if I am no longer able to play. So maybe what she said wasn't so incorrect after all. The audience filed into the hall as the rehearsal came to a finish. The hall was almost packed, even though it was pouring outside. I remained backstage, prepared to take over should the piano break during the concert. Being able to see the pianist perform in such a prominent location was a fortunate opportunity. It would not be long before the starting buzzer went off. I looked at my watch, and then all was dark. What? I looked up and about, but everything was completely dark. There was a growing murmur from the audience. Employees ran through the hallway, holding phone lights and flashlights. Everyone, pay attention. We are currently suffering a blackout due to a nearby lightning strike. Please be patient as we attempt to restore power. An employee yelled at the crowd. A blackout is such a pain. However, backup generators should quickly restore electricity. After about 5 minutes, everyone was waiting in the hallway with only emergency lights on, looking a little nervous. However, the lights remained off. The blackout has lasted for 20 minutes already. There was a lot of discontent in the backstage area. Is the power back yet? For whatever reason, the backup generator isn't operating. Make a second announcement. Around me, the employees were exchanging updates. Hey, has it returned yet? For what length of time will you make us wait? I'm leaving, so forget it." The crowd began to become agitated, occasionally yelling obscenities at the stage and the personnel. A few had already gotten up from their seats and made their way to the foyer. The power was still not showing any signs of coming back. This is not favorable. Shall we begin? However, in this particular scenario, performing. I could hear Mike and Sophia talking not far away. The problem wasn't that the pianists we had today couldn't perform in the dark or with their eyes closed. The issue was that the pianists, who were invited for this unique occasion, were being used only to quiet the crowd. The concert would be a complete bust at this pace, and we didn't want to offend them. "Jeffrey," Mike strained to say when he shouted my name. I could tell right away what he desired. He desired for me to give a performance. I'm not capable of it. It's been years since I've played. But you've been listening to piano music all this time. Mike was aware of my reason for quitting the piano. He had never once pushed me back, but now that I'm in this predicament. One cannot be unable to play the piano if they love it as much as you do. I've been anticipating the day you'd take the stage again. But why now, of all times? It was a chance, in my opinion. It is now absolutely dark on the stage. Nobody will recognize you or believe it to be you. Everyone doesn't anticipate a flawless performance because of the darkness. A child could play and still be content. That's Mike, taking the edge off as much as he can to give me the confidence to take the next step. "Jeffrey," Sophia gave me a shoulder tap. "I have actually heard you perform before." I begged Mike to allow me to hear. "What?" "Only once. The composition you performed at a high school competition. That piece is something I truly enjoy. Please play it for me." Her easygoing tone made me naturally move forward. Sophia brought me to the piano, her voice protecting me from the audience's jeers. "It's true that you gave the introduction a unique touch. It was excellent. That was just a kid's arrangement." Well, I was mesmerized. Sophia took a seat and lifted the piano's lid. She appeared to be planning to watch my performance from next to me. I'm now playing for Sophia. This area is empty of other individuals. My fingers began to naturally slide over the keys as soon as I had that realization. The noise in the hall vanished instantly, leaving only the piano's sound. There was no audience. Only Sophia and I were there. A well-known classical composition that I had performed innumerable times. I had not played for years, yet my fingers, arms, and feet still recalled. I loved this phrase the most. I made the addition Sophia asked for. Although a little difficult at times, this section was breathtakingly gorgeous. The song structure ran into my head one after another. Reminiscences of those carefree days flooded back. The piano played filled the void despite the break. I'm grateful. You are an amazing pianist, really. Please stay with me for just a little while longer. I let the piano take control and let myself float on a sea of music. I wish I could immerse myself in this for longer since it's so cozy. I played the last note with reluctance. I was surrounded by a blinding white light as soon as I raised my hands from the keys. My eyelids snapped shut out of habit, then opened slightly after a brief interval. The hall erupted in loud applause at that moment. When I looked up, I saw that everyone was up, cheering, and whistling. How come? Why was everyone applauding? What had I been doing? Yes, that's correct. I played the piano during the blackout, and the power has since returned. Oh no. I got up quickly and dashed over to the stage wings. However, I suddenly stopped. Jeffrey, Sophia was chasing after me, and Mike appeared anxious. I faced the audience and turned my back on them. I gave a deep bow and eventually withdrew to the wings of the stage. Thank you so much for today. My performance was followed by a successful restart of the concert. Until Sophia and Mike rescued me, I was in a stupor. After tidying up, I took some tea in the now calm dressing room to ease my dry mouth. There were a lot of questions concerning the identity of the pianist who performed in the dark after the concert. I didn't reveal your name, though. Was it appropriate for me to tell them? Not at all. The attention is not what I want. I recognize your feelings. Nevertheless, today's show was very outstanding. You were the reason for it, Sophia. You were my sidekick while I played, listening. I took no action at all. In fact, I forced you to leave against your choice. Even so, you helped me forget the audience so I could play. Can I tell you something? I began to describe how I came to be in this position. I had been playing the piano since kindergarten and didn't become bored of it until I was in high school. I had established a reputation as a student pianist in the profession by the time I enrolled in music college. About that time, I received my certification in piano tuning. I desired the ability to adjust the piano I performed on my own. I was unstoppable when I first started college. I won every tournament I participated in. I was even dubbed a genius pianist by others. Though I was pleased with my excellent review, I got most of my enjoyment from watching the audience's response to my playing. But right before I graduated, I ran into a brick wall. Isaac was that wall. We knew each other. We were classmates from the same college. I got chills when I unintentionally heard him perform at a tournament. His cadence was mesmerizing, both powerful and sensitive at the same time. He had been unknown up until that point, but he started to come into his own. He was also certified to tune pianos, and his performance in competition quickly caught up to mine, so when we participated in the same event, we would often compare notes. I didn't even place second. Isaac took first place. I came in 10th place. He proved how good he was in our first joint tournament. I was rattled, and instead of enjoying myself when I played the piano, I became fixated on rankings, for fear that I would lose against him again badly. Everyone at college was aware of the competition outcomes right away. It was hard to be indifferent. Without joy, I could not play the piano and be welcomed. Even though I enjoyed playing during practice, I developed a fear of performing in front of an audience. I gave horrible performances in front of an audience. I kept making absurd blunders, and once, in the middle of a performance, I was even heckled. I've never been the same after that. Public speaking has always been painful for me, and I stopped wanting to attract attention of any kind. Naturally, I had a terrible reputation. Friends I thought I had started being distant from me. My connections were, as it turned out, only motivated by my notoriety. While not everyone had that kind of attitude, I started to get suspicious of what other people really thought of me. Those who appeared happy might have been satisfied with my demise. I avoided being close to others because I was afraid of being intimate. I see. I apologize for forcing you to talk about such a traumatic event. Sophia was dejected when she heard my account. No, I'm sorry for burdening you with it. Why offer an apology? I appreciate you sharing that with me. It implies that you've given me a small window of access, don't you think? Sophia was correct, after all. I wanted her to know about my trauma, so I talked about it, and in a strange way, it didn't bother me that she did. I could play the piano again because of her, after all. Was it because you were unable to see how other people saw you that you were able to play earlier? That implies that you are fighting a war with yourself to see if you can continue to play. A battle within myself. Indeed, you mentioned that your favorite part was the audience's response, correct? The presence of the audience then cannot be disregarded. I was struck by her words. Yes, even though I was afraid of the crowd, I was interested in seeing how they responded. Consequently, the real battle isn't with the audience of judges, but rather with myself. Hey, I have a suggestion. Sophia had a video playing on her phone. Even though the screen was black, I knew it was my earlier performance. So, the concert today was permitted to be recorded. If you're okay with it, Timothy wants to share this video he made on social media. What is the objective? Would anyone even be interested in seeing an unidentified pianist perform in the dark? Obviously. We want a large audience to hear this incredible performance. I want you to see the reactions and comments on the uploaded video to see how many people are touched by your performance. We'll keep your name private and cover your face. Do you think it'll work? I guarantee it. The video attracted a lot of attention, just as she said. Several compliments were left on the video, which was named a masterpiece in the dark during a power outage. Have you given it your all yet? People can be entertained by your piano playing. Sophia showed me the remarks with pride. She added that requests for interviews regarding the video have been received. Startled, all I could do was nod in memory of what had transpired that day. I developed a fresh drive to pick up the piano during the interviews. Sophia gladly suggested a number of performing opportunities when I spoke with her, beginning with little local events. Through a variety of contacts, I progressively got used to giving public performances. I like taking part in every performance where I could feel the audience's reactions firsthand, so I continued to do so. It was eventually discovered that I was the pianist for the gloomy performance, and Jeffrey the pianist quickly gained notoriety. Then Timothy offered me to attend a concert as a guest. I could never express how grateful I was to him for anything. Isaac naturally came over to say hello to Sophia and me in the foyer after rehearsal. I had stopped playing because of him, but my lack of skill was the real problem. I couldn't force myself to detest him despite his harsh words, so I answered without thinking back on my painful history. So, you're performing today? Yes, with gratitude to Timothy. Isaac, are you also performing? No, I'm not on stage right now. By the way, I heard that Sakura Instruments would be performing with you soon. I could perform as well if you told me. Oh, right. Sophia, clapping her fists as though she remembered something, broke off Isaac's sales presentation. I finally learned about you in the previous issue with Timothy's piano. Is it not something you did? What? What topic are you discussing? How do you mean? It seems that he stopped another piano tuner from working on Timothy's instrument, saying he would do it since they worked for the same company. Having some standing in the agency, no one ventured to stop him. Those who saw it said he adjusted the piano's pitch to fit his playing style. What? Why was the sound so strange? The playing techniques of Timothy and Isaac are completely dissimilar. Why would you act in such way? Presumably, he made the decision to become a tuner before his deteriorating abilities were noticed. This is more than simply a hunch. It is also predicated on data from the agency. Yes, that appears to have been on point. I almost made a mistake in front of Timothy, but you saved me. Jeffrey came to the rescue, but I told the agency about it because I thought it may harm our reputation. You have a bad reputation among the workplace gals, by the way. When your name is mentioned, they all pull faces, pressuring dates, groping inappropriately, and disparaging Timothy. I also reported everything. No way. Isaac's complexion become white. I reasoned, maybe that's why he's backstage today. Perhaps you were talented once, but your conceit got the better of you. Why don't you make a fresh start? I suggest taking a part-time job at a record store. Ultimately, there were rumors in the small business that caused Isaac's contract to not be renewed, which made it difficult for him to find another job. I've heard that he ended up taking a part-time job at another record store to supplement his income, possibly as a result of Sophia's advice. I continue to work with Sakura Instruments. I've turned into a full-time tuner and still do performances from time to time. Don't you actually want to pursue a career as a full-time pianist? Sophia inquired, appearing worried. I responded, I also play to perform for you, so I don't intend to leave Sakura Instruments. I realized what I had just said when I saw Sophia blush. Oh, it wasn't my intention. Of course, I want other people to hear my music, but the major reason is because you, Sophia, were a huge part of my healing process, and I'm glad you're here. Whatever I said sounded like a confession of love. I gave in and asked her out at last. She readily agreed, and we were married in less than a year. Finally, you've opened your heart, not just to the piano, but to me as well. Her beaming smile made me realize that playing the piano may make others happy as well as serve as a tool for competition. It took me a while to see the obvious, but going forward, I want to treasure the piano